Before October 7th, I was a nobody. October 8th, I woke up in the morning, so I opened up a TikTok live show on this one pro-Pally topic. I only planned on doing a 1-hour show, but I got like well over 1,000 views like right away. No one knew what a Palestinian was. Palestinians, they're not the bad guys. The media is the bad guys.
Did you get any threats at all?
They'll message me this and message, I didn't care. If we had social media 25 years ago, all this stuff would have ended. The Iraq war might not even have happened.
Do you agree that a lot of people were on the blue state side?
Through BlackRock. How do they control our Congress? AIPAC. How do they control our education system? Social media regulation? That's ADL. 99% of the media is run by a single group of people. And that 1% that is not, they're working on it right now.
In your experience, what is the most unfiltered social media? With the Gaza thing, 2 years of protesting, we're still not getting nowhere. Things are just getting worse.
Aaron Bush now.
This is crazy. Nobody even took that serious.
Underage girls, really. You approached Bill Clinton and shame on you for trying, but shame on them for even falling for that, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
But we would never do stuff like this to try to attain power.
What about September 11th? How do you feel about that?
The very least we can say is that with their foreknowledge and what they did after, it's like aiding and abetting a crime.
When I was watching movies when I was young, I really thought that my people were the terrorists.
There was somebody on social media saying, hey, I know this might sound crazy, but I live on the bottom floor of an apartment building, and I swear in the middle of the night, I hear Jews digging tunnels underneath the building.
Wow.
And so they laughed at him and called him a conspiracy theorist.
Prophet Muhammad did say in one of his scriptures, he said that there will be a group of my nation that will come long after me. They will fight until judgment day for their right and for their land. In the Quran, it says that God has made the Israelites a great nation, and they messed that up the first time.
America goes bankrupt.
Yeah.
There is no bailout pack.
All because of who? Crooked politicians. $37 trillion. How can you even spend that? Welcome, everyone, to Inside with Sam. I'm your host, Sam Sankar. This is my special guest, Erik Warsaw. It's so good to have you here today, man. Thank you so much for being here, giving time. Everything worked out beautifully, how we were able to meet and do this. This is very special. This means a lot to me. I wanted to, just introduce you to the viewers. A lot of people know who you are already, especially the Palestinians and, all the Muslims and everybody. They love you, and everybody speaks highly of you. And I just wanted to, have you introduce yourself to everybody.
Oh, I appreciate you, and thank you for having me here, man. I greatly appreciate that. This has been one hell of a life journey, and October 7th, it ended up changing the entire world, for real. All of America's politics domestically, international politics, everything's different after October 7th. But it also changed a lot of people's personal lives, too, and it changed my personal life. Before October 7th, I was a nobody. And I wasn't even really big on social media. I wasn't really into social media. I was just kind of like a person who I like to watch the news and stuff on social media and repost stuff, but I wasn't on there like I am now. And then October 7th happened. It was all over the news. And of course they already started their, the lying and twisting the story and making themselves like the victimhood, everything like that. So I was thinking about it, watching it on the news all day long, thought about it at night. The next day, October 8th, I woke up in the morning. I had a little bit of free time. And it was like 11 o'clock in the morning, October 8th, the very next day. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go on TikTok and do a live show about this. And so I opened up a TikTok live show on this one topic, a pro-Pally topic. And, no one knew this was going to change the world.
Right.
So I started talking about it, and everyone's receptive and listening, because when you talked about the stuff beforehand, everyone thought it was like a big conspiracy theory or something like that. No. There's a group. They're called Zionists. They control our media. They control our Congress and everything like that. It's amazing. And for real, even before October, how many people 2 years ago never even heard the word Zionism?
Never.
How many? If you brought it up, they would it's a conspiracy theory.
Right. Right.
Now everyone's listening and stuff like that.
Didn't exist almost.
It didn't exist almost. You couldn't even tell people about it because they're just roll their eyes at you and what the hell's a Zionist? How come I never heard about it?
I agree.
So October 7th happened. People listening. My very first day. I only planned on doing a 1-hour show. But since I got like well over 1,000 views, like right away, people are listening, asking basic questions. No one knew what a Palestinian was. It was very nice. Like, what's a Palestinian? What is the IDF? What's a Zionist?
They had no education at all about the whole situation.
No. And now this October 7th opened up the floodgates of information. You know, they broke down that fence to get into Israel, and they broke down that wall of the brainwash and everything too, man. It was incredible. So the very first day, I did a 9.5 hour long show. At the end of the show, analytic show, I had 250,000 people watch. Wow. But it was the very first time a lot of people even heard these concepts. But I was also showing them pictures one by one. I showed a picture of Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Clinton, Bush, every single one. You know, they make them go to that wall of shame over there, the Western Wall, the Wailing Wall. They put the little tiny hat on. They go to the wall and everything like that. And everyone's saying, like, why does every single president in the country have to go to the wall?
Have to pledge to the wall, yeah.
And most of our congressmen and stuff. And then it all started clicking, and you're seeing all these pictures. Like, it's not a conspiracy theory. Like, there's something going on.
This is real. So
now it's building a thirst for knowledge. It's like, well, what the hell's going on behind the scenes? And like all this stuff, there's plenty of proof. It's just, it was under our noses the entire time, like hidden in plain sight. The whole entire empire was hidden in plain sight. And you know, after October 7th, there's still everyone openly and freely talks about this stuff. But back then it wasn't safe to talk about. You know, back then when you were called an anti-Semite, that was big stuff. I was called anti-Semitic. I was called a terrorist supporter because I'm standing up for the Palestinians. And I remember my first shows too. The first couple weeks, it had very, very few Muslims in there. It was just me talking to other Americans, you know, white, Hispanic, black, and just explaining to them, like, you know, this is what's going on behind our government. And the Palestinians, they're not the bad guys. The media is the bad guys. The American media, they're lying.
Right.
And so I'm explaining, and then, you know, then everybody started to find me. And I was doing this every single day for about 8 to 9 hour live shows on TikTok every single day, talking to people, waking people up. And it's like a multi-guest. So you get to talk back and forth with them. So you're sharing information, you're making connections and stuff like that. And everyone found it, but I didn't stop. I rolled hard because I really thought, like, they're going to attack the hell out of Gaza for 3 days, 2 weeks the most. Right. Stop, sweep everything on the rug, and continue their crimes behind the scenes. Yeah. No one thought they're going to, I can't believe we're over 22 months later.
Yes, we're still witnessing it. It's still alive. Everything's still going worse and worse. It's worse than it ever was now.
It really is. Did
you get any threats at all when you started?
Oh, yeah.
Was there any threats?
I mean, they'll little threats on the show, but I mean, yeah, they'll message me this and message. Well, I didn't care. They're empty threats. What's someone going to drive halfway across the country to show up at my door? I mean, who does that sort of shit?
Right.
You know,
right.
Even all the main media stars. I think it happened to Nick Fuentes once, and that was a serious situation. But most of all, like, they don't really do that sort of shit. I don't care anyway.
Right.
The more certain people, when you threaten them, they back off. Other people, you threaten them, they just get crazier. So I mean, I'm that type. Like, dude, the more you threaten me, I don't care. The harder I roll.
Yeah, same here.
So yeah, damn right. So I was going incredibly hard every single day the first few weeks because I thought this is going to be over soon. And big respect to all the people who started on this shit at first.
Yes.
Because you were called all the buzzwords. The buzzwords have no effect now, and it was really good too, because where I'm a Christian American standing up for Muslims on the other side of the world, people listen to me more. Because, you know, if a Muslim standing up for them, that's kind of expected. When you have someone from a completely different demographic saying stuff that's completely not expected of their demographic, and they're like, what's he talking about? So they listen a little bit more. They
listen more to you rather than them.
And because I was outside their I had the ability to say more than even a Palestinian would. Because I remember back then, like, Palestinians, when they were trying to stick up for themselves, the first things that would come out of their mouth was like, I'm not anti-Semitic. I don't support Hamas. I just, you know, don't like I have my whole family under threat of being killed every single day.
They were scared.
I didn't give a damn. I was like, I do support Hamas. I don't think they're terrorists. I think they're freedom fighters. I don't think this is anti-Semitic at all. In fact, the Zionists, they're not even Semites. they're committing an act of genocide against the real Semites
Right,
while
right.
pulling the victim card. So, and then I've even had Palestinians, because they're like, there's no way in hell they would ever say something like that.
Yeah.
Because they'd lose their jobs and everything. Like I didn't give a damn.
Yeah.
And I've had Palestinians tell me, like, the stuff you say out in public is the stuff I always felt like, but I was
In my
too
heart, but
afraid to ever say out
They didn't
loud.
want any problems, probably.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's what it is. They
But I
were
was like,
scared.
I don't care. I'll be the problem.
Yeah. When it first happened, people were scared to talk. But
They
I
were.
feel like now people are really coming out, and they just don't. They're fed up. People are fed up.
Very fed up. Very
fed up.
fed up. But it wasn't like that at first. People were too scared to
People
talk.
were too scared.
And so
A lot of ignorance in the beginning. I have.
There
to tell
was a
you.
lot of ignorance,
There was
too.
a lot of ignorance in the beginning, and the social media educated a lot of people.
Thank God for social media.
Thank God for social media.
Social media played the biggest role in this. I really believe too.
Better
If
than
we
CNN.
had,
That's for sure.
oh, of course.
Because that's all we had years
if
ago.
we had social media 25 years ago,
Oh, forget about it.
all this stuff would have ended
Yeah.
after September 11th. The Iraq War might not even have happened. And if it did happen, it would have been a
100%.
lot shorter lived.
I agree.
And so thank God for social media, because it broke their monopoly over the narrative, their
Yes,
monopoly over the truth.
Yes, yes. It
You know-
exposes the truth. Social media exposes the truth. CNN covers it. That's the
They're
truth. You agree?
I just seen CNN was just I had seen Nick Fuentes on CNN several times. Now they're covering Tucker Carlson and Candace, who used to be mainstream media but became more successful after they lost their jobs and went to social media. They became more successful.
They became
Social
more
media was dead man's land before,
Right, right.
but now everyone listens to social media people more than they trust us more.
They trust social media more than they trust the newscasts like CNN.
It's all
NBC,
freaking
whatever.
scripted.
It's
Fox
all-
News, CNN.
It's all
left-wing,
owned by
right-wing.
who?
It's all owned by a bunch of Zionists.
There you
and
go.
They all have. It's not a
They
coincidence.
control it all.
They control it all. They control right-wing news. They control left-wing news. And as far as propaganda in general, propaganda and shaping people's opinions and stuff like that, it's not just the news. Most people don't watch the news. They get a lot of their information like from sitcoms, entertainment media. So they don't just own the news media. They also own entertainment media. They also own like kids' educations. Who runs Disney? What's his name? Bob Iger?
Disney is ran by.
I think his name is Bob
I
Iger.
think so. Yeah, yeah. A Zionist for sure.
He is a Zionist.
Yeah, of course.
And so it all begins even in entertainment media. That's where a lot of the brainwash is. Now, when I say brainwash, a lot of people have like a Hollywood version of the term brainwash, where they think brainwash. You think of someone made to strap down to a chair, made to watch crazy movies with some psychologist in a white lab coat whispering in their ear. No, brainwash, like, realistic brainwash is just being lied to your entire life.
Right.
They're giving you a false sense of history, false sense of news. They're manipulating you through lies. And so that going into entertainment media, we can see that a lot, where we see the bad guy in all the freaking movies that I watched growing up. It's always like a Russian, German, or Arab Muslim terrorist. And the Arab Muslim.
More Arab Muslim terrorists, to be honest with you.
Yes, of course. Like, especially because I was watching like, Chuck Norris and stuff like that. So that's
Same,
pretty
yep.
much the
That's-
bad guy in most of his
That's
movies.
exactly what I was watching too.
And it's not even like a good. All right, so it's not just the bad guy is an Arab Muslim. The bad guys also, they always make them like kind of dumb, extremist. They're always dirty, sweaty, not an actual real Arab Muslim.
Right.
So they give them like the stereotypes within the stereotypes.
Yeah, they're trying to corrupt.
They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is all done on
Definitely.
purpose. It's
Definitely.
very, very well crafted.
They're pretty good at brainwashing people for years, for honestly for centuries. For centuries, the Zionism, Zionists been brainwashing people for centuries. You agree?
Yeah. Through the news media, through entertainment media. They know exactly what they're
All the
doing.
way back from even thousands of years ago, man. That's all started from thousands of years ago.
It started a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's crazy that we are like 7 billion people in the world, and they're a very small number, but they're so powerful. You know, what are they, like 15 million Jewish people out there, and Zionists? You know,
They run
Zionists
everything.
but they run everything. They own so much. They're so powerful that they control most of the world. But do you agree that, you know, 2 years ago when September, October 7th happened, do you agree that a lot of people were on the blue state side? Blue state meaning Israel's side. You call them blue state. You call them Izzy. I like.
Oh
the way,
yeah, on
I like the
social
way
media you
talk
have
about
to
it.
use code talk.
Yeah.
So Israel
is Izzy.
it could trigger the algorithm.
Right.
It's a buzzword that could trigger the algorithm to slow down your video and stuff.
Yeah.
So everything's got replacement words.
Right.
Instead of saying Israel, sometimes we'll say blue state or Izzy.
Right.
A bunch of different. We have replacement words for everything. Replacement words.
Exactly.
So we can talk about what we need to talk about without triggering the buzzwords and stuff like that.
Yes.
Very different ball game since October 7th, because everyone thought, because we've been educated, in our school system. That's all part of the brainwash. They control our school system.
They do.
They control Congress. They control our court system. Look at our court system.
Yeah.
In our court system, no one sues anybody who's Jewish or a synagogue. They won't sue Jews or synagogues. The only time that ever happens is if it's from an actual another Jew. That's it. And so they have a stronghold within our court system, which that slight bias will over time naturally give them a competitive edge in absolutely everything.
Yeah.
They have avenues into our economy. They manipulate our economy through BlackRock, that business. How do they control our Congress? There's a lot of different lobbyist groups, but the main one we always talk about and focus on is AIPAC. How do they control our education system and social media regulation? That's done by the ADL, Anti-Defamation League.
Right.
And they will also sue the shit out of anybody who they fault that they can shove under the label as anti-Semitic, which is a very, very broad label done on purpose, because it's weaponized words as weaponized psychology. And it's a tool of oppression, just words alone that could make apparently entire nations submit.
Yeah. Their art of oppression is like no other. I got to be honest with you, man.
Yes.
Their art of oppression, I've never seen it in any other race, to be honest with you, if you think about it. What do you feel about that?
Yes,
just the way they oppress. I mean, it's very. I don't even think evil's enough word to. I mean, just look what's happening right now. For example, you got how many millions of starving Palestinians, and they run to one flour bag, and you're firing, live ammunition at them. This is not even like warning ammunition. Let's say, you're firing live ammunition. You're killing them. This is just it doesn't get more demonic than that.
And then they go on the news and say that themselves are victims.
Yeah,
they're evil, but they're very clever evil.
But 2 years ago, people did believe that. They believed them. They believed the blue state. But now I feel like, I want to say like maybe 70% of the world knows the truth and they're awakened to the truth. 2 years ago, I feel like maybe only 20% of the world was.
I'd say you probably might have been
maybe
less
even
than that.
Maybe even less than that, right? You agree with me on
Yeah.
these? On these, I mean, I'm not like statistically like maybe on point, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yep.
You know what I mean? How else how did you get into this besides like you seeing October 7th, and then what really drove you to like say, okay, I don't like what I'm hearing. I've been brainwashed my whole life, and I got to do something about it. What pushed you to actually physically like, all right, I got to do something about this? What made you do that?
Well, before I could speak about it, I had to know about it myself, and that's my own personal life journey. I found out about this 15 years or so ago, but my awakening it's not like you just read one book and you're fully awake. It's like, there's a bunch of small awakenings before you have your big awakening.
Right.
One of my small awakenings was someone recommended that I read the Quran.
Okay.
For like political reasons, like, educational reasons, right? Wasn't trying to convert me or nothing like that.
Right.
And so I read the Quran, and it blew my mind that I was reading stories about Jesus, Mary, Joseph, Adam and Eve, Moses. the media, like I'm growing up, it was always like, oh, Muslims they believe in a foreign religion that's anti-Christian. It's a completely just different, hostile religion.
Right.
And then I open up the Quran and I'm reading a story about Jesus and how they hold Jesus like in high regards.
Right.
And so like, this is not anti-Christian at all. It's actually not a different religion. It's the same religion, different culture, different trappings and stuff like that. But I mean, really Christians and Muslims, they follow the same God and everything. So that really it really woke me up. I'm like, huh, that was a really ingrained false stereotype that the media kind of gave us. And then, reading, I love to read history books.
Yeah.
But at first I was reading them kind of casually and stuff like that. But then I started realizing like a lot of stuff I read in my history books is completely different than the history books that we were taught in school. So
the school was controlled.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what, man? And then I really started like to investigate this stuff. And I've been told a lot, like growing up, like, the media is completely run by a single group of people. They're all Jewish. And I was thinking, or maybe that's exaggerated, like what, 10, 20% of the media. But then you actually start looking it up and you're like, no. It's 99% of the media is run by a single group of people. And that 1% that is not, they're working on it right now. Right? So, I mean, it is.
That's
insane. It is a complete like ethnic monopoly, an ethno-monopoly.
It really is.
They know exactly what they're doing. And like really through the media, can you control all out? Because look at the economy, right? You get to control which businesses get advertising, which is, don't get, they can get bad, because you can shut down a business by giving them negative publicity nonstop. I mean, so through the media, do you have a lot of social control? And I tell people like I really believe our democracy is the illusion of choice.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You got Republicans and Democrats. They all work for the same freaking people.
Yes.
Now through the media, it's the illusion of opinion. All right. So you got left-wing CNN, right-wing Fox News, run by the same people. They have you arguing over this like small frivolous stuff. Meanwhile, they all want you to agree on Israel. There's certain things they want you to agree on. Then you have arguing on it. It's the illusion of opinion. Democracy, illusion of choice. The media, illusion of opinion. There's a lot of there's other third options you're not even aware of. And then people go on social media and it's like, why isn't this on Fox News or CNN at all? Either one.
I want to ask you a question. Since you have a lot of experience with social media, what do you feel is the most unfiltered? I mean, I know a lot of guys like, let's say, Sean King, great brother, good guy, just like us, talking the truth. They shut him down on Instagram and, all these other Facebook. I don't know. He's on Facebook now and X, right? He's only on X and Facebook right now.
I forget which one he got.
I believe he's only on X and Facebook right now. That's where I see him now. But he was big on Instagram and they literally just shut him down, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So from your experience, I don't know if you know, what is the most unfiltered social media?
X.
I would say X too, right?
X, yeah.
I mean, Elon Musk just doesn't care. He just doesn't censor anything. You agree with me?
He took control over X, and it was a completely different ballgame from that. And remember, they forced him to buy that. Do you remember the story?
$44 billion.
They forced him to buy that.
Right.
It all started because of a loose tweet.
Yeah.
Someone, he said something, a nice comment about Twitter. Someone's like, oh, maybe you should buy it. And so he tweeted on top of that saying, maybe I should. They took it seriously. They gave themselves the poison pill, as it's called in business, where they fear a hostile takeover from a rich businessman or some other corporation. So they'll do things to self-sabotage to hurt their own company and make it unattractive. Well, it turns out Elon Musk had no intentions of it. He was just kind of loose talking. So they sued him saying, they did all that self-damage because of him. So they sued Elon Musk, and Elon was like, well, now I will buy it. So then, I mean, they kind of forced him to.
They forced him.
And then boom, it changed history.
They conned him into buying it.
Yeah. He fired 80% of the company to make it more efficient. And it was more efficient. It became a better product after he was done. Open, free speech. And we kind of fell into that one, but man, did it have repercussions, because through X is where a lot of information is coming out. A lot of other stuff that TikTok has been huge in them. They gave credit to TikTok to being the #1 platform for waking people up.
Yeah, that I can see, to be honest with you.
A lot of it was through the live shows. I mean, not, everyone's reposting videos and stuff like that.
Right,
But in live shows, TikTok has the best live shows.
Live shows.
Instagram has more freedom than TikTok as far as whatever you can post in videos. TikTok is highly sensitive about videos. They're always taking videos down for small excuses. X, you can post anything. Instagram has their live shows are nowhere near as good as quality as TikTok. TikTok has multi-guest options and a whole bunch of different features and buttons.
Right.
X doesn't even really have video. They have X Spaces, which is great because you can say whatever you want.
Say whatever you want.
But it's all radio shows kind of thing.
Yeah.
So through TikTok live shows, was there a huge amount of, and you can interact more.
Yeah.
Because on certain things, you're just listening to other people produce content, but in live shows, you're interacting with the people. You can ask hosts questions and this and that, and they give feedback and everything like that. So there's a stronger connection. And people, there was many different ways of waking people up. There was protests, there was making videos, there was live shows, there was, debates. There's a whole bunch of different, hit them all up,
Yeah.
And so very, very, the Great Awakening, the big noticing, the great noticing.
Yeah. I think Elon Musk bought it for like $44 billion, and it's worth like half now. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if that's
he cares.
I don't know if that's a rumor.
Well, how much money does he have now? I think it's like $450 billion last time I checked.
He's pretty up there. He's definitely quarter trillion for sure.
He doesn't care.
Minimum
he doesn't
quarter
care.
trillion. Yeah. What was his relationship with Trump that you know of? Do you know anything about that relationship?
They were besties. Elon Musk and Trump were besties.
Yeah. And
then they blew up and separated over what they call the big beautiful bill, because Elon Musk felt that Trump was doing everything right with Doge, Department of Government Efficiency, and he saved the government a bunch of money. The government was getting on track. And then the big beautiful bill came out, it's a bunch of overspending, and he was mad because it was like, well, then why even bother doing all this, saving the government money and doing everything right, just to do what all other politicians do and start excessively spending again. So, I mean, I understand it, but then they went overboard because then Elon Musk was posting, certain things you can argue about, but once certain things are said, you can't come back, because Elon Musk was saying stuff about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, and even Donald Trump, he was going overboard. He was saying stuff about Elon Musk having a certain bad habit.
I heard about that one.
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of tell he has a little bit of a bad habit in the intoxicants department.
Yeah, definitely. What do you feel about Trump and other politicians of high state, like, Biden?
I think
all
that
these
they're
guys?
all.
Do you think they're on Epstein's list? If you had to guess.
Now, the way that because they've compromised so many politicians, and how do they have?
Do you think they blackmail them? Is that what it is?
There's multiple ways to do this. There's one through sympathy, because how you have all these politicians going to Israel, going on little sympathy tours. Like, Israel's, they make it seem like Israel's so special, and they pull the victim card, and you always have to protect them, and then they bull you with the anti-Semitism card. Plus, also, what AIPAC does is like, all right, you take money from them, but if you don't take money from them, if you don't obey, they will tell you, well, we're going to fund your opposition. So that's a threat.
It's a threat. It's a blackmail. It's a threat.
There's many different ways. They go through sympathy. They go through threatening. They go through money.
If they can't control you.
They find, like, every single person may have a different hook. How can you hook this person in to going along with you? And some of it's good, because I think a lot of these Christian Zionists that are tricked, some of it might not even have to do with money. They're just like, no, God wants you to do this. So they approach you through your own ideology. They know exactly what they're doing. These people are very professional. These are very smart. They have people in big giant buildings that it's like they have think tanks and everything, where they will find ways to compromise every single person. They will form the compromise around the person. They can do it soft ways, hard ways, whatever way, but they will make sure to get every single politician possible. And look at this recent thing that happened in Washington, D.C., where they had a vote on giving or withholding $500 million from Israel for like Iron Dome missiles and everything. $500 million. 422 people in Congress voted to give Israel that money. Only 6 did not. So to me, that's like a litmus test for who's on whose side. And that pretty much indicates to me 98% of Congress is compromised one way or another, or bullied into it, whatever. 422 to 6. That was the actual voting.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me?
That's crazy. That's a big number.
I mean, that's insane.
That's an insane number.
And now what are we going to do about it?
Yeah.
Is the next question. All right, after that vote happened, something interesting happened against AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She has her office in Brooklyn, New York. Her office was vandalized, and they were saying like they threatened her life. They threw red paint all over her office. And I guess that caused her to go right on social media saying a whole bunch of good things about Palestinian people. But now, what's it going to take for us to because, peaceful protests just don't seem like they're working anymore.
It doesn't work at all.
And
it's not
so,
making any change, making things worse, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's really
now,
not doing anything.
What we just seen with the AOC is, I'm like, well, I think that might be the next level. That might be the next step.
Yeah.
Where like, well, now they're vandalizing your offices and giving you death threats because you won't stop a genocide, replacement word.
Right. Yeah, I see that happening now more than even Egypt on the border. They're vandalizing.
They're sick of it and they're pushing forward. Yeah. And they have every damn right to.
Annoying sounds and sirens right at the, government official buildings right at the border so they could let them in to let the aid through, for example.
I think peaceful protests were a necessary first step, right?
First step, just to
because
show that.
if they would have worked, then we could have stayed there. But they're not working.
They're not working.
And now the politicians are causing escalation by not listening to us.
Right.
And I think another aspect of it is they want us to keep having peaceful protests because peaceful protests can be ignored. They know they can. If we can peaceful protests for the next 10 years, they're not going to move an inch. And even though in our government we replaced a whole bunch of left-wing puppets with right-wing puppets with the elections and everything like that, we have still failed to dislodge a single person from their position in the media, in AIPAC, in the ADL.
Yes.
It's like, dude, we're just replacing all the puppets. Not a single thing bad happened to the people that's actually in power. And
nothing at all. Nothing at
all.
So they're still unshaken.
Completely unshaken, man.
And these protests, you're absolutely right. It's been over 2 years now protesting. We're talking about just the whole Gaza thing. The protesting was way before that. But with the Gaza thing, 2 years of protesting and we're still not getting nowhere. Things are just getting worse. What else? What's the next step? Is it going to be a violent protest for people to, even this, what's his name? The one that lit himself up on fire.
Oh, Aaron Bush now.
Aaron Bush, this is crazy how nobody even took that serious.
It moved the needle in the movement a lot, though.
Do you think it really? I think
it did
because not much changed after that.
Not much changed with the politicians, but it really, really motivated and moved.
It motivated a movement, yes.
Because that's where that woman Josephine Guilbeault, who was a military Army veteran, she came out from that. She wore her military uniform out there. And she became known for speaking out so that had a big impact in the movement, and someone sacrificed their life for the movement. And he was a military guy himself.
Yeah, he was.
So it gave our side a lot more legitimacy and seriousness and everything like that too. And I visited the site where he did that at, right in front of the Israeli embassy.
Did you really?
I visited it was 3 or 4 months later.
Yeah.
And the burn marks were still there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It was that bad.
Yeah, the burn marks were still there.
I got to tell you, God rest his soul.
Yeah, God bless him.
He was a good soul. God bless him. And there's a lot of U.S. military that's also waking up that are on X. Have you seen that?
A lot, yes.
There is a lot of U.S. military waking up and just standing against this whole genocide.
Yeah, because we're all sick and tired of it. And you're supposed to, if you're in the military, you're supposed to keep out of politics but no one cares anymore. We care less. And at first, even me myself, right? I was just mad as hell against Zionists and all this stuff before. But now it's changed in me too, where I'm not mad at them anymore. I'm mad at myself for not doing anything about it. Because really, how is less than 1% of the population in America bullying around and oppressing us, so the other 99% so damn much, man?
It's such a small number.
It's like, and who are these guys? You look at them, and it's like they run these Jeffrey Epstein rings. So there's a lot of, they're all a bunch of, there's pedophiles.
They just have power, money power. That's what they have. It's money power.
You look
That's
at
why
them,
they control so much.
They're not like good, noble people and stuff. Like, no, they're just a bunch of scumbags, man.
Scumbags.
And I tell people, like, they're in charge of us, not because they're smarter than us. It's because they operate without any moral restraint, and they'll do whatever the fuck it takes to take power.
Yes.
There's stuff me and you would do to try to, like, you know, save the country. But even we have moral restraint. We're not going to go out there and blow up 20,000 babies and then go on the media and say we're the victim. I mean, you know, there's certain things that we would never run a Jeffrey Epstein ring to compromise politicians. I mean,
absolutely insane.
Underage girls, really. You approached Bill Clinton and on, like, these are like, shame on you for trying, but shame on them for even falling for that, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
But we would never do stuff like this to try to attain power. They operate with no moral restraint, and so they will go lower and lower and lower. They'll do whatever it takes to get and maintain power. Because remember, to them, we're just goy.
Yeah.
We don't matter. There's not a damn thing that you could do.
We're just a number to them.
We don't matter. Exactly. Yeah. We do not matter. So they operate with that mindset, and they're not smarter than us. They're willing to do a lot of evil shit.
They're just demonic. That's what it is. They are evil. They're the devil themselves. That's the devil himself. That's what it is. Now, let me ask you a question. What about September 11th? How do you feel about that?
September 11th.
There's some videos that just leaked over the internet, unfiltered, not showing planes hitting that. People literally right there in New York City. You were there yesterday. Is that right? You were there yesterday. Have you visited the?
I visited the sites.
You visited the site. People were just blocks away from the building, the Twin Towers, and they're on social media now. It leaked that they were saying they heard a bomb going off.
There is a lot of funny business when it comes down to September 11th, as far as Israel's direct involvement. This is what we can say at the very least. The very least, Israel knew that 9/11 was going to happen before it happened. They had a whole bunch of people not go to work that day. Then there's the Larry Silverstein thing where, like, you know, he got incredible insurance and everything on the Twin Towers, and the 5 dancing Israelis, where they actually sent Mossad agents down there to videotape and film it. And they would have got away with it too, but they were dancing and celebrating as the Twin Towers were going down, which caused somebody to call the cops, and FBI got involved. So there's FBI records, CIA records, plus they went back home and got on national television in Israel and just openly talked about it. So Israel's foreknowledge of September 11th, and after September 11th, tricking the population to going forward into the Iraq war, which had nothing to do with September 11th, but using our grief and anger against us to misdirect everything into Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with September 11th, no weapons of mass destruction, funding terrorism. No, none of that stuff. But he was a threat to Israel because he was always pounding that war drum. I'm going to blow Israel off the map, riling people up. They felt that he was necessary, and they tried several times to assassinate him. They failed. So in September 11th, the very least we can say is that with their foreknowledge and what they did after, it's like aiding and abetting a crime. Did Israel actually have a hand in helping the crime be committed? It does seem like that is highly likely. Because one, if you know that September 11th is going to happen, why didn't you freaking warn us? They could have warned us. You knew we're supposed to be your allies, your greatest allies. Why didn't you warn your ally that the greatest attack on American soil was about to happen? You didn't warn us. You let it happen. You filmed it happen, dancing and celebrating. Why were they dancing and celebrating? Because they knew they could use their own grief against us for, like, the Iraq war and stuff like that. There's no reason why you should be celebrating an ally's big demise. So,
but there's over 1,800 Jews that called out sick on that day. Is that a true? Is that a true testimony?
If I remember the number correctly, now the Jewish population of New York City was around, I think, slightly less than 1 million.
Right.
Now, out of over 3,000 people that sadly lost their lives on September 11th, you know how many of them were Jewish? Only 4. And they worked in those buildings that went down. There was many
Wow.
Jewish people that worked in those buildings that went down, but on the airplane and the buildings, around the buildings, everything, there was only 4.
Right.
In a city that has the
so-
biggest Jewish population in the world.
So the rest got the memo, basically. That's basically what it is. The rest got the memo.
It's freaking amazing. They talk about like how they had little social media network, how they communicated this with everybody and everything like that too.
Right.
So they were very clever and slick on how they did it. But
how do you feel about the tunnels that were in New York City?
oh my God.
Oh, how do you feel about that? What do you think about all that? I mean,
It gave us a lot to laugh about.
I'm going to tell you this right now. If a Muslim, if an Islamic person did that, if it was in a mosque, it would be all over the world, and it would be a major storm, right? Major storm. If it was a church, it would be a major storm. If it was a Christian, Catholic,
100% right.
anybody else, it would be all over the news. But they covered that so fast. I mean, if you tell people right now, hey, did you see about that? They'll be, what are you talking about? They don't know because they covered it so fast. This is what they do. That's what they're good at. Isn't that crazy?
That's very crazy. You know what's funny about
tunnels? I mean, we're talking about tunnels.
There was something that happened like way before that whole incident came out, right? There was somebody on social media who was on Twitter saying, hey, I know this might sound crazy, but I live on the bottom floor of an apartment building, and I swear in the middle of the night, I hear Jews digging tunnels underneath the building.
Wow.
And so they laughed at him and called him a conspiracy theorist.
Right.
And then later on, he was vindicated.
Yeah.
But how's that for conspiracy theories, huh? You know what? Before, a conspiracy theory used to be something that was just something that crazy people thought was not true.
Yes.
Nowadays, when you say conspiracy theory, you
People
automatically
look into
assume it's like, it's the truth that's like 3 or 4 months away from coming out.
Yeah.
So
conspiracy is interesting now because
redefined.
Because social media is becoming more truthful.
It is.
That's why conspiracy theories are more like, oh, I got to see this,
And really, I got to say, from my personal life, about 80% of all the craziest conspiracy theories I've ever heard growing up, about 80% of them turned out to be true. And I was like, oh man,
Erik, I got to be very honest with you. I'm from Syria and I'm a Muslim. When I was watching, movies when I was young, I swear to you, when I was young, I was 15, 18 years old. I would watch movies and I really thought that my people were the terrorists because I was watching movies with a lot of, Arabic Muslim terrorists. You know what I'm saying?
They make you hate your own people. That's part of their psychology.
Yeah. That's what it is. That's
in
what
the
they're
media,
good at doing.
Everybody's the bad guy. They have a negative stereotype against everybody, against Christians, Muslims, every single ethnic group except for themselves. They'll never allow themselves to be portrayed in a negative light in entertainment media, news media, or anything. Positive stereotypes for them only. And that's the way they operate. You know what? I was watching some Chinese movies a couple years ago. I seen 2 Chinese movies like kind of back to back. One was Crazy Rich Asians. And then one was, it was a Marvel movie, something to do with the rings. But I was watching the way they stereotype themselves. Like Chinese people and stuff, they will not have negative stereotypes about their own people. Their own people is portrayed to themselves in positive culture. Like they're smart, real well-cultured, respectful. They're elders, respectful. They're all... but positive stereotypes for your own people because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And if you have nothing but negative stereotypes for your own people in your own media, that also becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They do this shit on purpose. They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
But because look at like Asian culture compared to American culture or anything like that, their kids growing up, it is night and day. Their kids growing up want to have straight A's in school. They hold higher intelligence as its own like social status.
Yeah.
Smarter people is better. And in our society, oh my God, no kid in American schools wants to have good grades. It's not like something it's not built into our culture. They don't give a damn. You know, we don't hold certain things up high anymore.
Yeah.
And
you won't catch an Asian kid saying "f you" to his mother, or
never,
or saying bad language to the mother or father, or not taking his shoes off when he enters the house. But in America, this happens. This is just normal.
And so much of our culture is through the media, man.
Mhm.
It really, really
Yeah,
is. Control over the media. Everybody needs to control their own media. Everybody needs to control their own media. And a big example is like BET, Black
You were
Entertainment Television.
telling me about that earlier. Tell me a little about BET. This is
BET.
This is absolutely mind-boggling, by the way.
BET is not even owned by black people.
Mm-hmm.
The Redstone family. They're Ashkenazi Jewish people who own BET. And now look what's on BET. I mean, a lot of it's negative stereotypes and stuff like that. If black people own their own media, they wouldn't allow a lot of negative stereotypes even on there. Now, let's go back to American black culture back like 1950s, 1960s. They had very low divorce rates. They all dressed really nice. They were all polite and everything like that, you know, and with any culture. But everything started going downhill when they had somebody else take control over their media and started profiting off their own demise. Because I remember even hearing Kanye West talking about this, like 1990s. That's when all this like gangster stuff coming out.
Yeah.
And they had all these like self-demeaning music videos and everything like that. Missy Elliott and calling herself a bitch. And they're all using the N-word and stuff like that. And it's all like self-depreciation. But you have another group of people destroying somebody else's culture and making a ton of money in the process.
Right.
And that's not right.
And they're making them look bad.
BET and all that, they should own their own media. Everyone should own their own media. But when you don't own your own media, that's when others get to exploit you for their own profit and to your own demise, man.
And they control you, basically.
And they control you. They control which way you vote and everything through that, too.
Like, look what happened to Diddy. Maybe you never know.
Maybe you never know.
Maybe the blue state is behind Diddy. You know, the rapper, Sean Diddy Combs, the rapper.
There is a
Diddy.
lot
you know
behind that. I've heard so much about that because for Puff Daddy.
You know, the Hollywood, by the way, the Hollywood world is all, you know, controlled by the Zionists, by the blue state. Zionism, from what I understand.
The entire Hollywood is controlled by them.
It's controlled by them.
Now, when it comes
to... If you get on their bad side, they'll expose you, they'll blackmail you, they'll do anything. You have to... If you want to become famous, you have to initiate to do some evil acts, and they have to, you know, have you basically like blackmail. They blackmail you.
Half of Hollywood was on the damn Epstein list too, man.
Oh, 100%.
But with Puff Daddy, there is speculation that he worked with like his own kind of honey trap, like Epstein did.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because he wasn't just having all these celebrities and big giant parties with drugs and everything like that. It was also, he was recording all this stuff. It's like, dude, why are you recording stuff? Like, you're recording big celebrities with prostitutes and drugs. Like, you know, you're not recording, because most of the time, you want to do if you want to do something stupid, go ahead and do something stupid. You're not gonna do it on camera.
Right.
So he has hidden cameras freaking everywhere, and then he gets busted and he gets off on it.
Mm-hmm.
He beat it. Like, huh? They only convict him some minor, and then they do this in court where they know you're going to trial, so they'll hit you with a whole bunch of a lot of the serious ones. But they also know, I guess studies have been done on this, where a lot of juries feel that if a person's getting off on all the serious stuff, they'll actually allow them to be found guilty on some minor petty shit, just so to appease both sides just a little bit. So that's why prosecutors will hit him with a whole bunch of serious stuff, and Puff Daddy beat all the serious stuff, and the minor stuff he got hit with. So we'll see what they do on leniency on that. But with Puff Daddy, it really does look like you're not just collecting this information. Was Puff Daddy blackmailing and doing stuff with people behind the scenes, or is he doing it on somebody else's behalf? I mean, this is way too professional.
I think,
and
it
seems like
somebody else's behalf. That's my opinion.
A lot of people feel that way too, and I'm suspicious of it too.
Yeah,
I'm very suspicious of it because he works with a lot of Jewish people.
Yeah,
and he's doing all this stuff. I'm like, well, who's it benefiting? Is it benefiting you? What are you doing with it? What's Puff Daddy? What does he get out of having a bunch of celebrities on camera and stuff?
Right.
Is he getting money out? What was he doing with it? It's not really benefiting him. but it's benefiting other people he might be working for.
100%. Kanye West does not like Jewish people at all. That's for sure.
Kanye
He's on
West.
He's on X doing crazy stuff.
Kanye West is on a whole different level. I know. Kanye West is on a whole different level.
He's an entertaining guy for sure.
Oh yeah,
on X.
He knows what he's doing.
He cracks me up.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he does not like them at all. At all.
Because even when he is, his choice of words being very extremist and eye-popping when you hear it, he knows exactly what words have the most amount of impact, and he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
So he knows exactly what he's doing. But yeah, no, he hates them. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in Hollywood who feel the exact same way that he does. They just would never dare to come out about it. So he's doing it. And then, for real, once a person has nothing left to lose anymore, because they hit him with everything. Lawsuits, kicked him off of every platform. So once a person has nothing to lose.
Adidas deal, he lost. I mean, there's a lot of things. Yeah, you're right.
But even look at Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. They lost their jobs and everything. Now they have nothing to lose. You really can't threaten them. And then once they're on social media and stuff like that, it works in reverse, where the more and harder they go after Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, or Kanye West, the more popular they get because you're giving them free publicity.
100%.
So now they're in a position where the harder you hit them, the more you're shooting them up, not down. So,
what about Pierce? Pierce in the beginning, I felt like, man, this guy, took like 2 years to see the truth. Pierce Morgan.
He'll still defend him a little bit, but he's.
But what's up? What do you think about him? I mean, this kind of bothers me a little bit because people cannot be that ignorant, right? I mean, that's some crazy ignorant. 2 years, you're defending the blue state and you're completely, ignoring the truth. And you know the truth. Come on, everybody knows.
You have to know by now. Come on, no one's that.
Everybody knows, killing women is definitely not the right thing to do, right? Everybody knows that. I don't care who you are. You could be a dog, you'll know that. But this guy just for 2 years, and then finally he's starting to show a little, light in the day.
Well, here's the thing is, we were all brainwashed, all right? When I was younger, when you were younger, we were all brainwashed. And let me use Candace Owens, for example, because like 2 years ago, Candace Owens was pro-Israel. And then she realized what was going on, spoke up, lost her job. She spoke up knowing she's going to lose her job and still kept on speaking. I think there's a lot of people who know the truth. They just keep their mouth shut about it. And that's where it gets evil, It's like, dude, you know
the truth and you stay silent.
That's complicity.
Right.
Especially not just staying silent, but when you know the truth and you're continuing to be a propaganda puppet to covering up, we're at 20,000 children. The number for total Palestinians that have passed, it's near around the 60,000 number, and that's the low number. Some numbers say it might be as high as 400,000. We won't know until after the.
That's crazy.
The low number is around 60,000. 20,000 of children. Children being defined 14 years or younger. So when you know and you're doing that, that's evil.
That's very evil.
And that's when a person needs to, like, maybe they don't have the damn courage to go out there and speak the truth, but at least quit your damn job and get the hell out of that, I mean, don't be their puppet anymore, man.
Yeah, definitely. Don't stay with
if you're not strong enough, you're not brave enough to stand against them, fine. But, at least have the damn decency not to continue being a puppet. Get a job somewhere the fuck else, man.
I agree. Silence is evil. I agree.
Silence is complicity. Silence is evil.
Silence is evil. Man. Let me ask you a question. If, let's just say, God forbid, you and your wife and your kids, let's say, were in Gaza and you saw that the blue state took your family away from sniper blowing up or whatever the case may be, what would your mindset be at that point?
Oh,
I mean, this question.
No, that's
I have to be honest with you. This question can go to any human being, right? It could go to any man. Any man. It doesn't matter who you are. Black, white, Hispanic, Muslim, non-Muslim, Christian, Jewish. I don't care who you are. There is some Jews that are against the whole thing too.
Mm-hmm.
And those people, honestly, they do have a conscience. They do have somewhat of a good heart. Some of them. I mean, not most of them are bad news, but some of them have a little bit of a conscience. You know what I mean? If that was to happen to you, where do you think you'd be? with your
I think it's
mindset.
radicalizing a lot of people and people who have lost everything, like lost their whole family. Because there's been a lot of cases like that.
Right.
A lot of sad cases like
Oh,
that
yeah.
where a man lost his wife and he's got nothing left to live for. The only thing he has left to live for is the enemy and revenge. They're causing their own radicalization. They're causing their own future demise. I mean, you've put a whole bunch of people in positions where they have nothing left to lose. They're coming for you. And what are they going to empty out Gaza out into the world? Do you know how many of those people want revenge?
Mm-hmm.
They've lost everything. You're going to throw them out randomly in the world? Where in Gaza, they didn't have access to guns and all this crazy shit. You put them in other countries, now they're going to have access. They can probably, who knows what they can probably join the military there. They're going to have access to stuff.
Yeah.
And they're going to have access to you. They're going to have access because, the Jews are all around the world too, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're spreading your enemy around the world and radicalizing them.
Right.
And as far as, all right, Jews in Israel, polling data shows that they're mostly for what's going on. I wonder because I don't really trust polling data, because polling data is sometimes made more to mold a public opinion rather than reflect it.
Yeah.
I think in America, there might be more Jewish people on our side than there is on the Zionist side. I would love to know real numbers on that. I really don't trust certain hot topic political polling data. I've seen way too much of it. I like Brexit. I remember Brexit in England. Polling data was the exact opposite of what it showed. And in like 2014 American midterm elections, there was no polling data that predicted what was going to happen in those congressional. All polling data showed Hillary Clinton was going to beat Donald Trump. Remember that polling data?
I remember, yeah.
I was like, so I really believe that a lot of polling data is used to mold public opinion rather than reflect it. And in cases like this, I wouldn't trust data. But I think there's a lot of Jewish people who are actually probably more on our side than there's pro-Zionist. Because, I mean, how could you possibly look at that? And, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of them who love Israel.
Yeah.
But don't love what the hell's going on. So they might
Definitely
just be
not.
Quietly on the side allowing Netanyahu to get freaking politically unpopular and stuff like that. Because, I mean, you don't want somebody who's making your own people hated. And 2 years ago, they ran the world. They ran America. They ran all this stuff nice and safe. No one knew who they were. They're sitting back with tons of power and money. Now everybody knows who they are.
Now they're exposed.
They're exposed. And it's like the Italian mob.
And nobody likes them.
Nobody likes them. Back when the Italian mob, when no one knew about it, they were big and powerful.
And in control. And
then like John Gotti, I think you probably credit him a lot to expose, he was big and flashy. He was letting people know he's Italian mob. Then all the damn cops in the world, or all the cops in America are coming after you because they want to be that cop that takes you down for their own prestige and rank and all that sort of stuff too.
Yes.
So exposure is something that, it's like light on a vampire. So certain things thrive in darkness. And Benjamin Netanyahu put in October 7th, big giant credit to the Palestinian people and the hero group Hamas that did October 7th, because they woke the world up to one of the greatest evils that was oppressing people. Like in America, how does Zionism control America? And 2 years ago, most Americans didn't even know what Zionism was. Big credit to them.
They had no clue.
Even when we free ourselves and everything like that, the people who will be held up on the pedestal the most will be the Palestinians, because they woke the world up, and waking the world up wasn't for free. It was a cost in blood. I didn't pay that cost in blood. You didn't pay that cost in blood. It was that poor group of people over there. They paid with their lives for us to be able to sit here right now and openly talk about this in front of everybody. So sadly, there was a blood sacrifice to wake the world up, man. Very sad.
So you said you read the Quran, so you know who the Prophet Muhammad is, right?
Yes, I do.
So the Prophet Muhammad did say in one of his scriptures, one of his hadiths, they call it, and this is a authentic hadith, that something that he said is authentic. He said that there will be a group of my nation that will come long after me. They will fight until judgment day for their right and for their land. And one of the companions asked him, who is that, Ya Rasulullah? O Prophet of Allah, who is that? And he said, they will be around the Masjid al-Aqsa, basically the mosque, the Aqsa Mosque, Jerusalem. And this is an authentic hadith. I don't know if have you ever heard that before or no? Or
I've heard people tell me things around that, yes.
Yeah. So everything that the Prophet Muhammad, was he ever said came from, obviously, from God through through the angel Gabriel. You know what I mean? And this is one of the things that makes me think and ponder about like what he said, how powerful this statement is, because I can't believe that I'm actually witnessing this right now. These people are there. They're not leaving. They're fighting with their souls, and they're literally protecting the holiest place where, Jesus, Noah, Abraham, all of the prophets and messengers literally, prayed in that mosque. The Mosque of Al-Aqsa, the Aqsa Mosque.
And didn't Hamas specifically call October 7th Operation Al-Aqsa Flood?
Al-Aqsa Flood, that's right.
So, I mean, that's exactly along to prophecy, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's one thing about that I have to love and respect about Hamas, for example, right? You look at them, you look at how they treat their hostages. I mean, the guy is kissing them on the forehead. They're fist bumping each other, they're hugging each other, kissing each other as if they're like best friends. And then let's flip the other side. Let's check out the other side now. When the hostages are released from the blue state, they're like completely mentally, like they're just completely
physically and mentally destroyed. I see. It's so destroyed. Sad.
They're either raped, they're either starved, they lose weight, or they're mentally ill, or they lose their mind, or health issues, or it's absolutely crazy. This tells you right there, who's the truth and who's following morals and values and, Islamic traditions, and who's not following that. You know what I mean? Because the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he was into wars, just like how Hamas is going into wars with the blue state, let's say. And when he had when he captured someone, military, and they captured him, they wouldn't kill him. They would give their hostages the better food. And in that time, they would have dates and bread. They would give them the dates and they would eat the bread. They would give them like the special treatment, and they would explain to them why and this and that, and they will tell them the truth, and then they would let them go. And I feel like Hamas is just doing that whole thing, like that they're just following in the footsteps of the Prophet.
And they're doing things politically brilliant too, man.
They are.
Treat your prisoners well.
Right.
And you know what's crazy too is Israel. They could be treating prisoners well and releasing them for the same like media image, but they really just don't give a damn.
They don't care about.
We'll treat them bad. We'll treat them horrible.
Yeah.
We'll take in nice, healthy young men and release them damn near cripples. And that's it. Like they just power to them is through trickery, oppression, deceit, and then you got Hamas acting like a bunch of heroes,
right,
doing it the right way. They're recruiting through good actions. They're good to prisoners and everything like that, man.
Yeah,
and they're winning the hearts and minds through their. And really, even while we're online talking about the IDF versus Hamas. The IDF is all over social media bragging about the crazy evil stuff they do. And then you got Hamas on the other side, showing off like, they are the good guys. And it makes it very, very easy to, to show the public who's the good guys and who's the bad guys. I mean, just by their actions and everything like that, man. I mean,
right.
They do it to themselves, so.
Absolutely. The blue state, as you say, they're the most arrogant, state that I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. I have never seen. Have you ever seen anybody more arrogant? I mean, here's the deal. If you're a Christian, let's say, I've seen this with my own eyes, right? Where a Christian would go there, right? And they would spit on him, But yet some Christians here, they see that and they still back them up. Why is that? Is there an explanation that you know of that I don't know of?
This is one thing we need to keep waking people up on. Christians that go to Israel, whether it be on the pilgrimage, because it's the Holy Land for for Christians, Muslims, Jews. It's
for everyone. For everyone. It's for mankind.
And so when Christians go over there, they get treated horribly. They get spit on. I've seen just outright attacks because a lot of people, they go there showing, they're videotaping themselves getting yelled at.
Yeah, that's what I've seen.
And so this is great that we have social media that we could show all this stuff. And this is easy to look up. You can look up spitting attacks on Christians. There's a lot of news agencies that covered it and everything like that, and that Ben Gravere even tries to stick up for it. This really wakes people up, like, all right, these people are not our religious allies. Zionism especially is anti-Christian. They're extremely anti-Christian.
They do not like Christians.
Just
as much as they don't like Muslims, for sure.
And so they always try and have Christians show that they're not anti-Semitic. Do you ever see them trying to show Jews that they're not anti-Christian? No. This bias only goes one way. They want us to always constantly donate to their charities. Can I open up a Christian charity in Israel and have Jews donate to help Christians somewhere? No. They do. This is all biased in one direction. Whatever, they always want Christians to work for them, but they never, ever do a damn thing for us. They're always pulling sympathy cards, victim cards, and blah, 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 blah. But it's also a lot of Christians are waking up. This whole Christian Zionism thing, that in itself is like a very, very clever trick, and Judeo-Christian values. There is no such thing as Judeo-Christian values. Judeo values and Christian values are two completely different and opposing things. They hate us. And these are all words to try and trick us over there. And then the whole Schofield Bible thing, which is that was an expensive, well-formulated way to try to trick Christians into where the whole Christian evangelical thing even started from 100 years ago. And damn, it worked. They spent a lot of money on that, the Schofield Bible, and to creating Christian Zionism. And it worked. And all these many, many decades later, still reaping the success from that one trick.
Yeah. It's crazy. How do you feel about if you saw, the question that I asked you earlier, right? I feel like Hamas is going to be more powerful because of the question that I asked you earlier. How would you feel if they took your family and you were in that, God forbid, if you were in Gaza and they took your family? I feel like Hamas is becoming bigger and more powerful because they have, guys like that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I agree. They're creating Hamas.
They're creating Hamas. That's why they're trying to kill kids, right?
And as far
children, because they don't want to, have more Hamas. Basically,
I think they're killing. I think they're killing kids on purpose. I think it's part of the strategy. When you have, in this case right here, where Israel is committing atrocities on a civilian population, and depending on sources, between like 60 to 70% of all the victims are women and children. That high percentage, 67%, that's on purpose. Look at the insane, hardcore war between Russians and Ukrainians. Way less than 1% are children. In this case right here, where it's, I believe it's 40% are just children, 60 to 70% are children and women combined.
That's right.
And so I think it's done on purpose. I think it's a tactic. And let me explain why. Is like, if you take out a single male soldier, the next generation, a single woman, I think a Palestinian woman literally averages about 7 children. So the next generation, they're still going to have 7 more. But if you take out a young girl, you took 7 people out of the ballgame next generation.
That's true.
So sad, sick tactic that they're using is intentionally targeting of, take out the women, because then next generation, what do you got? So I think it's a generational attack. They're doing it on purpose. That's not.
Oh, they're definitely doing it strategically on purpose, for sure. That's without a doubt.
Unreal.
The problem, how do you feel about the rest of the Arab Muslim nations out there, the countries that are not opening their borders, like Jordan, for example, and Egypt and Syria and Lebanon? I mean, they're right there on the border, right? And I feel like, we don't know whether they're helping or not, because we don't have surveillance or anything that can show us. But these other countries are not sticking together with them. They're not helping them at all. They're not doing anything.
Certain countries are in better positions to help the people of Palestine and Gaza than others. Let me take Egypt real quick. Egypt, they take $1 billion a year from America as a gift. and that's more of a bribery. Stay allies with Israel. Jordan and Egypt get $1 billion a year from America to stay allies with Israel. Now, Egypt, they're right on the border. They're right on the border with Gaza. There's an actual rule from a treaty where there's not supposed to be allowed any IDF soldiers on the border between Gaza and Egypt. So they have that in their favor, but they don't ever enforce it, and they allow IDF to cover that border. And really, if they wanted to, they could sneak in food. That's not that big of a border. But if they wanted to sneak, if Egypt wanted to sneak in food over the border, they could through their intelligence. But instead, not only are you allowing IDF there, not only are you not sneaking in food, but I remember a year ago when food trucks were going in, Egypt was charging an additional $5,000 royalties, they called it bribery, to allow food trucks in. It's like, now that extra $5,000 could be used to making more food or allowing, so they're working to the contrary. And it's not the Egyptian. The Egyptian people are hardcore pro-Palestine. It's the government.
It's the government.
It's the crooked government.
It's all the government. That's what it is.
Same thing in America. I hate it like when people like say, well, Americans did this, and like, no. Well, it's not Americans. Like the Iraq War.
Yeah.
Either you opposed Iraq War or you were just brainwashed by the media. You didn't understand what was going on.
You didn't understand.
Certain governments of certain countries are oppressive to their own people on behalf of Israel. So you can never blame the people. You blame the government and allow the government to be replaced by representatives that care about their people. And I think a lot of stuff will be fake. But the leader of Egypt, Sisi, he's doing bad. And I think he's knowingly doing bad. And then I want to jump over to Saudi Arabia real quick. Saudi Arabia is not a small country that is easily bullied around. All right. Because countries like Jordan and stuff, Jordan is, what do they have for military? They're smaller. So they're bullied around. They're bullied to suppression. But when you got like Saudi Arabia, which has got a little bit of distance, they're big. You can't bribe them. They're filthy rich. What they could do, if they wanted to, was go behind the scenes, make allies with Russia and China, and they could rearrange their allies and slowly over time push away from Israel, push away from all that stuff and be on the right side of things, but they don't.
Why?
And
Why is that?
That's a great question. I would love to know exactly why. Apparently, they're compromised in some way. I mean, whatever I say is just speculation. I don't think it's money.
Yeah.
But there's other ways where they got their hooks in, specifically MBS, the crown prince and leader of Saudi Arabia.
He's like good friends with Trump.
They got something on him, man. They have something on him because he is going against his own people. Like I can see in the guy, because I've read a book about him and stuff like that. Like he does care about Saudi Arabia. He does care about his people. But at the same time, too, he's like, as much as he cares about his people, he just cares more about Israel than he does his own people. And it's like, well, maybe he's compromised, man. There's something going on behind the scenes. I can only speculate. But something's not right. And he could get into the right alliances and stuff like that. His country's big. His country's powerful. He could shift the power in this whole entire power struggle in the Middle East in favor of Arab Muslims. But instead, he keeps the power imbalance in favor of Israel, man.
Right.
And it's like, well, I got nothing I can say. I mean, he's doing wrong. He's in a position where he can do it. Jordan, they're too small. But Saudi Arabia, they can, but he consciously choose not to. That's the way I see it.
I agree. It's definitely, most people are definitely pro-Palestine in these countries, surrounding Israel. And I agree with you 100%. It's definitely the government. I just saw a thing on a reel on I think it was X, where the Egyptians, pro-Palestine Egyptians, are filling up bottles of like soda, and they're filling them up with rice, and they seal them tight. You know what I mean? And then they throw them in the ocean, hoping that it's going, over to Gaza, so the Gazans can pick it up and benefit from aid.
How is that for such a noble gesture? I've seen that too. There's lots of video of that, like young kids filling plastic empty soda ball like halfway with rice or whatever kind of food they can fit in there. And then the other half they keep empty so it'll stay buoyant and float in the water. Throw in the Mediterranean Sea, hoping it would float over to the people in Gaza.
Yeah,
it's like such small efforts because there's a famine over there and they're struggling so much. And like, wow, man, that really goes to show you, like, people are trying so hard, man. It's sad. They're trying so hard to help these people. And you got all these evil governments in the way.
Yeah.
Their own governments.
Yeah.
Their own government.
Their
The
own
Egyptian,
governments.
the Egyptians' own government is against their own people and against the Arab cause, the Muslim cause, and just the humanity cause, for God's sakes, man. Unreal.
It's only a matter of time when all of these people all over the world are just going to be sick and tired of protesting peacefully, like we said earlier. Honestly, I believe in my heart, it's only a matter of time where, I don't know, you know, there's bad things are going to happen, I feel like.
I think it's heading that way too.
I think so.
I think we might be headed towards a revolution. And I'm using the word revolution instead of civil war, because civil war is the country divides in half and half the people fight half the people. It's horizontal, you know, and I want to avoid civil war because whoever wins, one side or the other, then you know the Zios are on top. They're going to control both sides. But if it's a revolutionary war, it's not horizontal, it's vertical. It's the people versus the government. And so we want a revolutionary war, not a civil war. But is a revolutionary war coming? Something extreme is going to come because these people are not peacefully going to give up their power, their money, their positions, because it's not just power and money, it's also safety.
Yeah.
Once they give up all of Hollywood or the meat, now shit's not safe for them anymore. They're gonna not be rich anymore. It's not gonna be safe anymore.
Not gonna be safe.
They're not gonna willingly put themselves into giving away their entire wealth and not be safe. So it must be forced out of them. And that's the sad truth. And now here's another thing is, if the current course that we're headed on, peaceful protesting, and if it continues that way, they maintain power. Like the status quo favors them. Whatever happens has to be able to remove them from power. So they want this to either slowly die down, go away. And the amount of people who are pro-Palestine it's still a huge percentage of the population, but there is less enthusiasm for the past half a year or so. You know, and so they know that. They know like it might slowly just go away if we keep on ignoring it and keep on. So time is a little bit on their side unless something big happens. But right now, unless we start stepping up our game, they're going to stay in power. They're going to maintain power. And you know what's really sad too? Is as noble as our cause is, I always bring this up, the Elon Musk protesters, the anti-Elon Musk, for 2 months straight, they were burning down they were burning down Tesla dealerships, and they forced him out of his position in the government.
That's right.
And so they were rolling harder than us and got shit done in 2 months, where we have the most noble cause in the damn world.
All over the world.
And we're not burning stuff down.
Billions of people all over the world are pro-Palestine right now.
But I think it's going to escalate.
It's going to escalate.
And I think
it's only a matter
we
of time.
might meet that point or even surpass that point where
I believe so.
We're doing more and more extreme. How far are we willing to go? Well, it depends on how far they're willing to keep on suppression and genocide. You know, if peaceful protests would have worked, then it would have worked. Now, as things escalate, they're either going to do the right thing or they're going to allow escalation until they're removed in the worst way possible. But that's on them. That's on them. They're way too. And really, if they feared the public, they probably wouldn't have done this shit in the first place, man.
Right.
And that's the sad truth. But a few years from now, they might all be on trial by their own people that they were suppressing, because that's what happens after revolutions.
Oh yeah.
The people will put the evil government from before on trial. And it's like, well, it's now time to face some consequences, man.
Oppression definitely has a bad dead end, for sure. If you look at
a bad dead end.
If you look at the history, thousands and thousands of years, if you look at all the history of all the oppressors in history, they all had a very terrible dead end.
And as we were just talking about this just now, neither one of us brought up democracy.
Yeah.
We kind of know that our democracy is an illusion.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we just vote some new people in? We did that. We did that. It didn't do nothing.
They didn't do nothing at all. They didn't help us at all. They didn't change anything.
They shut down all the peaceful ways, and they did it to themselves, man. They did it to themselves.
But speaking of a little bit of a change, you know, on our side, right? This mayor in New York City, I think this is a little bit of a breath of fresh air for all. You know, it's a little bit of a hope. Do you agree?
No, he definitely is, because the entire time we were waiting for like a hero. And now this guy's only running for mayor.
Yeah.
But it's also
And he's in what you remember what you said earlier, New York City.
New York City's
New York
big.
City is big for the Zionism, and
It's almost like their headquarters in America.
I swear.
For real.
I
Just
really
because
is.
of the population size.
Yes.
I think last time I checked, it was like 1.4 million Jewish people in America. I mean, in New York City
in
alone.
New York City alone, 1.4.
And-
There's 15 million Jews in the entire world, and 1.4 million is in New York City.
So that's almost 10%.
That's almost 10%. And God sent
A Muslim to be in charge of all. Yes. They're fighting like crazy against it right now. But right now he's in such a high comfortable lead. Unless something drastically insane happens, he's going to win the election. Like if the election was held today, he would win. Now, there's always the October surprise, and these people have a bunch of tricks up their sleeve. And sadly, sometimes there's a lot of politicians who go into office and then they're compromised after they win too. So I really see this guy has good intentions and everything like that. I support him. I've put a lot of videos and stuff out on him, and I hope he continues his path. He's very strongly. He said he was going to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he ever goes to New York City.
Yeah.
I mean, he's hard, but he does. A lot of people complain about this. Like there's certain things he says that might favor Israel. Listen, I think because he rolls so hard against Israel, he throws him breadcrumbs once in a while to get him off his back. Like he's going to discourage. He says he's going to discourage the use of the global intifada and stuff like that. These are like little breadcrumbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So plus you don't always agree 100% of what a politician says. But look at his opposition, Andrew Cuomo. I mean, the guy is defending. They're looking to have him defend Benjamin Netanyahu in the International Criminal Court. So sometimes, I really like Zoran Mamdani. He's off to a great start. And we're hoping for him. We're pushing for him. And to have a Muslim mayor in charge of the most Jewish city in all of America, it's huge.
It's huge.
Huge.
It's a little piece of hope. That's what it is. Right?
It's hope. And it's also kind of funny. It's like
it's
like karma came.
Definitely karma.
But it's also a bellwether for the rest of the country and how voting is going to, like, if we can win this, then we can win other stuff in the future. Because what it comes down to is all of Israeli media in America and all of Israeli money in America versus the people's champion. Can we run against Israeli money and Israeli media in America and still win? It's how the whole country feels and how we're putting something to the test in this one election.
Right.
And we're going to see the results in November.
Right.
And right now it's looking good, but we'll see how it ends up. You never know. Because, I mean, I think these people, they rig elections. I really believe that they rig elections. And even, a lot of people think like, all right, even election rigging, tampering with the ballot box itself. Well, I mean, listen, when you're using the media, when you have complete control over the media and you're lying about certain people and that's election tampering too, because you're not allowing. And for real, you know what real journalism is? Real journalism is no political opinion whatsoever. The journalist is supposed to go out there and do such a professional job of analyzing both sides that the viewer cannot tell the journalist's position because they're just displaying other people's positions without revealing their own. That's what real journalism is. We're just so used to every single journalist being a political operative that we expect right-wing journalists, left-wing journalists, and that's not the way it's supposed to be, man. A real journalist, you're supposed to listen to them and not tell what their own political opinion is.
I agree.
So they've messed up their own game, and they've messed it up for so damn long that the viewers don't even know what the hell a real journalist is.
Not at all. Not at all. As far as protesting goes, I want to just touch a little on that. So the peaceful protesting, like we said earlier, is not working. I don't know. And you said something very interesting that kind of hit home with me. You're right with the whole Tesla thing. Is it really going to take, violence to get the government? And like, for example, let me just talk about this for a second. I don't know if this is real or not, but I heard about this, and you probably know. Is it true that we have to, us Americans here in this country, right? We love our country. This is a great country, right? Land of opportunity, yada, yada. Everybody knows the whole spiel, right, about this. We have to pay for our own healthcare insurance here. Is that right? Right? We have to pay for our own healthcare insurance. But is it true that the blue state gets that for free? They get that from America, from American government for free? And they get an allowance to each single family member. They get an allowance, they get free health care, and they get so many other, benefits, from the American government.
Taxpayers' expense.
But over here, we don't get that, and we're working our rear ends off to make ends meet, to pay the rent or pay the car payments or, to put the kids through school and put the food on the table. And when we go to a doctor, you either have to have a copay, even with your insurance that you pay $1,500 a month for. I mean, is this true from what you know?
Yes, it is. A lot of it is true. Now, in the past couple of years, we've been sending them insane amounts of money. But before October 7th, during normal times, we used to be sending them $3.8 billion a year. All right. That's what, and they only take a small little bit of that to put back into America to bribe our politicians, because they're bribing us with their own money.
That's right.
That's insane. They're bribing us with their own money, but only a small portion of it. They have a free healthcare system, and also their college tuition is 90% subsidized. They only have to pay 10% of their college education. Where in America, I know several people that they've been out of college for decades and they're still paying off their college debt.
That's so sad.
But listen, when you only have to pay 10% of it,
this is poverty for you.
And
how poverty is created.
There's other indirect ways in which they financially prop up and give to Israel. Like most of our college campuses, you know how there's all the college campuses were protesting specifically of having their college divest from Israel. I did some research like that. Well, how much and how many colleges are investing their college funds in one single foreign country? The numbers were insane. I'm trying to remember. It ran them in the billions of dollars. But that's, they're investing money, and that's also added to, Israel's economy and wealth. And then I recently heard Zoran Mamdani give a small speech about they have organizations in New York where they're taking money and everything like that from Jewish New Yorkers and putting it into programs and stuff like that to help the Israeli military, like with drones and this and that. So we just outright give them $3.8 billion a year. But there's so many small ways in which different institutions and charities are giving a little extra help to Israel that who knows what the real number is, man, of how much we help them out directly or even indirectly. And like I said, we give them $3.8 billion a year, but we give Egypt $1 billion a year to be their ally.
That's insane.
Jordan $1 billion to be their ally. So right there, you're at $5.8 billion.
I call those the rats.
It's unreal, man.
They're the rats.
How much money are we really investing in these people, man?
Yeah. What's even crazier than that is that the blue state owns probably most of the lending institutions, right? And that's why they get richer and they create poverty. So in Islamic teaching, interest is forbidden for a main reason. The lender gets richer and the borrower gets poorer, and it creates poverty. And God doesn't like that. That's why it's sinful to wheel and deal with interest. But the blue state is always the lender, and they're getting richer, more powerful. They're creating more poverty all over the world. Do you believe that?
Yes. It's their oldest stereotype. They control the banks. And you control the banks, you can control the money supply. You control stuff. You control stuff indirectly. But it's also through the banking system in which Zionism got to the point of control where it's at today. Zionism just didn't pop up with a very well-coordinated, well-funded everything. It actually started with the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds, pretty much in modern day banking, was pretty much invented by the Rothschilds. And back in the day, going back hundreds of years ago, they're lending to people where Christians had the same rules and stuff. You're not supposed to, usury and this. So they were lending out to people for, money back and everything. But then they also found that lending to governments, your money can be a lot more secure. Because if you lend to the government of France, France is going to be here 50 years from now. It ain't going anywhere.
Right.
You lend to a person, they can disappear with your money. You lend to government, even if they have to print money, they're going to pay you back.
They're going to pay you back.
But when you're lending to governments, you're also getting political influence and stuff too. So through this Rothschild system, they kept all their power in their family. But then later on, when they wanted to create the state of Israel, the Balfour Declaration, everything then they started funding and really the networks that Zionism has established, all their professionalism, it was all inherited from, and it all started with the Rothschilds, man. Through the Rothschilds is how they expanded for their tribe and everything like that, man. It was through the Rothschilds, through the banking system, and then they expanded into media and everything else. But it all started from the Rothschilds, that this whole empire even exists.
Yeah. That's crazy. Did you, I wanted to ask you, did you see that new podcast that came out with the Nelk brothers with Benjamin Netanyahu?
Yeah.
I don't understand what they were thinking, but they're getting a lot of backlash about that.
I know what they were thinking. They jumped at an opportunity where they had they could actually sit down in front of a world leader, and the allure of it was really big. And so they probably weren't, they're young, so they probably weren't thinking of consequences and this and that. And and I'm sure that they were thinking maybe we can ask them some challenging questions. It's not gonna be that scripted.
Right.
Just being naive.
Yeah.
I think they're incredibly naive, and I think they found out the hard way. But I mean, what it does show you too is Israel knows that one of the places where they lack is they lost control over the narrative through social media. So they're trying to re-regulate social media, but they're also now paying social media influencers to speak on their behalf. We've seen some on TikTok and stuff too. And
they're paying, definitely. They're definitely paying people.
Now having Benjamin Netanyahu meet a social influencer and stuff, they're targeting social media, especially trying to convert it to their side. Because not just suppress it, annihilate it, but convert it. No. The Netanyahu is the good guy and blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, they're clever. They're going to try a whole bunch of different ways and see what works. So, I mean, they have infinity money. They have all these think tanks and everything like that comes up with clever ideas. They have the ability to have not just have a clever idea, but to actually carry out an attempt to bring that clever idea to fruition. And so, I mean, we're dealing with people they have so much damn money. It really holds up their empire. I mean, they really have offices like at the ADL, for God's sakes, APAC.
Right.
Their entire job, 40 hours a week. Hey, I am trying to influence this one politician to working for Israel. Hey, I'm trying to work on this one college campus. How can we make sure everything's biased towards Israel? So when their paycheck depends on this, and they have money to invest in more research and everything we don't got shit like that.
Yeah.
We're doing this stuff on the side of our personal lives, man.
Right.
This is their life. This is their professional job. And they have, an entire network and everything like that, and it's extremely well funded, and it only exists because we pay for this stuff. Where does APAC get all their money? Where does ADL get all their money?
I got to be honest with you. I think probably maybe 20-30% of the world out there, they can convince them through what you just said, through social media and whatnot, because most of the world out there, they just know the truth. They know the truth. The truth is exposed now. Everybody knows. How are you going to hide it now? I feel like Israel and, the Jews, they have a rude awakening coming to them, man. I don't think they have a long, successful life of what they're doing right now. I don't think this is going to last for long, in my opinion. What do you think about that? Do you think this is going to last?
Well, I can say this sad reality is going through the history books. Sometimes the bad guys win, and we're not fighting Zionism for the first time. Hopefully, it's the last time. But we've been fighting these people for over 120 years.
Right.
In Palestine, in Europe, in America, we've been trying to soft ways, hard ways. There was Palestinian uprisings, 1920s and 1930s, way before the Nakba. We've lost every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the bad guys win. Look at history books. Sometimes the evil governments, Chairman Mao and Joseph Stalin and all, they died of natural causes of old age. The bad guys won. I'm not saying this to discourage people.
Yeah.
I'm saying this like, guys, it's not guaranteed we're going to win. Just because you're the good guy doesn't mean shit. So reminding people that, so you got to fight harder, not to discourage, but to make sure you got to keep fighting and fight hard, man. Good guys don't always win.
Right. But when they fall hard.
Oh, that's for sure.
When they fall hard.
That is for sure.
And they can live a life until natural death, you know what I mean? But what they have coming for them after that, there definitely is a God, and there's definitely going to be Judgment Day. That's for sure. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how far this is going to go. Like you said earlier, I don't know, now that people are waking up, and thanks to what we talked about earlier, social media and everything, I don't see this going too far, to be honest with you. I think it's very close from ending. How is it going to end? I'm not sure, but I think probably, like you said earlier, protesting maybe in a different way where it's not going to be pretty anymore, not going to be peaceful. People want to be heard. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be doing stuff like Tesla and, stuff like that. That's going to be waking people up.
We don't get to decide at what level they change. They decide at what level they change. And so we're going to keep on escalating on our side until it reaches the point where they change. So if peaceful protests work and that changed them, then that's what changed them. If it takes the most hardcore, ridiculous revolution to change them, then that's what changes them.
Right.
But what causes change? It's on them, actually.
It's on
them. How far we go is depending on how far they're willing to just, change. I mean, we're not even asking for much. I mean, goddamn, you're committing an act of genocide. You got a famine going on.
We're just asking for you to stop. That's all we're asking.
Oppressing our college campuses over here, our media, our economy. They're destroying everything and just expecting things to keep on going. And just, if we dare speak about it, we're anti-Semitism and that's it. Like, it's on them to decide. And as you said, it's their pride is their own downfall.
It's their self-destruction.
They don't want to. They have such big egos. They will not even negotiate with you. Now they will not negotiate with a goy. They just tell us. They don't ask us. They just tell us, and everything's got to reflect their own biases. They don't care about our needs or wants or anything like that, man. Their own pride is and the fact they're doing this shit in public is insane. Remember a year and a half ago where they would deny stuff? A hospital would get blown up. Oh, Hamas blew up their own hospital. They don't even bother giving explanations of stuff anymore. They just go blow up a school, a hospital, and then they don't say nothing. They just keep it moving. Like they don't even bother anymore.
They don't even bother at all. If I'm not mistaken, in the Quran, right, it mentions. I'm not 100% sure, so I have to double check on this. But I heard this. I have to go back and check this out because I don't want to make things up. But in the Quran, it says that God has made the Israelites a great nation, and they messed that up the first time. So he forgives them and gives them another chance, makes them stronger and more powerful than ever, right? And then the second time, they mess this chance up again, and this time, everything that they do will be their own self-destruction, meaning like it'll be used against them. And I feel like it's that is coming to life. I feel like that's really happening right now. The Israelites got saved when, Moses split the sea and God saved them from Pharaoh, And the second time around now is what's happening now. And I feel like this is really coming to life. I feel like they're becoming their self-destruction. People are waking up. People are protesting. People are going to start probably violently protesting. Only God knows what's coming up next. I mean, about the Mahdi. Have you heard about that? Do you know anything about that?
Yes, I have.
I saw a video of you, and I don't know if that was a Mahdi. I don't know if he calls himself a Mahdi. I don't know who he is, but I can tell you this right now. That's definitely not a Mahdi. That's a promise. But the Mahdi is someone who's chosen by God, who has the characteristics of the Prophet Muhammad. You know what I mean? Who's noble, who speaks eloquent, who has a very good reputation. And he doesn't even know that he's a Mahdi. And he doesn't want to be a Mahdi. And he tells people, no, I don't want to do this. Like, this is a big responsibility. I don't need this. And everybody tells him, no, we need you to do it. You're the one for this. You have the characteristics. You have the power. You have this. You have that. It's like almost like he was forced to do this. And then God transforms him in one night. He gets him ready to be this person. You know what I mean? This is what we believe, So I feel like this is coming. This can come to reality. I feel like. How do you feel? Do you know anything about this or no?
I do, and I can say politics is very unpredictable. But this is things.
This is more religion, to be honest with you. There's really not much politics in this. This is more religion about Mahdi, and it's written in the Quran. This is all. I don't know if this is the Mahdi's written in the Quran or it's more like of a script that was spoken from the Prophet Muhammad's hadith. You know what I mean? His scripture. His.
Either way, they're doing
mentions.
Something big, and so something big is going to be needed to stop them.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And as they got for every evil villain, there's a superhero to go and stop them, and that's that most of the. There's a lot of people in history, there would be absolute nobodies unless they had that villain to stop, So we'll see how it goes on that end, man. And there'll be some hero, but I mean, time is also, it takes time for all this stuff to happen, for all that stuff that brought upon the Russian Revolution, any of the world wars and stuff, or any revolutionary wars, this is stuff. Problems that don't just pop up in 1 year. It's several years of accumulated problems, and we're only a year and a half into this, and things get worse and worse. It's going to be even worse a year from now.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's going to keep on going until something really, really breaks into like a watershed moment so we're going to see which way it goes, but it's going to be big.
It's going to be big. It's going to get ugly. Things are definitely going to get worse before they get better. That's for sure. You agree? Do you agree that things will get worse before they get better?
It's on that trajectory anyway. I mean, they're in the middle of a famine, and no one's even no American politicians who are denying it, for God's sakes, like Randy Fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting ridiculous. So
yeah. I'm almost talking about the rest of the world, not just Gaza. I think things are going to get worse.
Listen.
On a bigger scale, we're talking right now. Not that Gaza is a small scale. Gaza is a massive
Gaza
scale,
was the beginning.
But Gaza was definitely the beginning, like you said.
And the Zionist Empire, or like what we call the Zog, the Zio-occupied governments. Think of how many governments they control in the Middle East, Europe, everywhere. So you got you got Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan. They have Joseph Un, the puppet they put in charge of Libya. Lebanon. Then over in Europe, we have Germany, Ukraine, England. We have America, Canada, Australia, El Salvador, Argentina. All these countries are occupied and controlled by Zionists, which is amazing. So when this empire falls, this is a global empire.
That's a global empire. That's going to get ugly.
That's one hell of a thing to fall.
That's going to get ugly.
And
that's massive.
Once they start losing control, they're going to start losing. It's going to be a domino effect. They're going to start losing control hard and fast. Yeah. If they ever lost control of America, especially, because we're the backbone to a lot of their stupidity. Because only America can afford to send $3.8 billion a year over to Israel and supply them with like infinity ammunition. What other country can manufacture that amount of weaponry, sophisticated weaponry, at that scale, and then also donate tons of money? Nobody else can. It'll break their economy.
Nobody else, yeah.
So through here is where everything else is like, it's kind of like, this is like their vertebrae, their backbone. Everything else would fall apart if they lost control over here.
Right.
So we're in the heart of the beast. Even if, Palestine would be free if America just cut off its supply to Israel. Israel would not exist. I really believe if America completely cut ties with Israel, I think it would fall within 12 months. Within the Middle East, it would not exist anymore within 12 months.
It would. No, less than 12 months. A lot less than 12 months. Israel would definitely be erased a lot less than 12 months for sure. I think the bully is America. It backs up its ally, Israel. For what reason? I have no, maybe control in the Middle East.
It just no,
Maybe it's petroleum, maybe it's oil, maybe they want to just have some sort of ally there that just has an eye on everybody there because they want to be bullies and they want to control. But the bully, let me tell you something about bullies. They always have their day. And, I love America. I live here. My family's here. But this country's becoming a bully. They stick their noses into places that doesn't belong. They should worry about their own people. They should worry about, building and education and their citizens, They should worry about the American citizen and not spending money on other things that's completely unnecessary. Like, look at China. I heard you talk about China a lot. China's president is building up China, making it beautiful, infrastructure, everything, education. He spends all his money. He doesn't go to war with anybody. He doesn't spend money on nonsense. This country, we're what, 36 trillion right now in a deficit?
Yeah, 36, 37 trillion.
37 trillion in a deficit in the entire world. If you sold every gold, every silver, every piece of real estate, every Bugatti, Rolex, whatever you want to say, that's about $700 to $800 trillion. Did you know that?
I did not know that. That's
$700 trillion. If you sold every single asset in the world, all over the world, 700 trillion.
And they're not even doing nothing to stop that.
We're 37 trillion in debt. You want to talk about bankruptcy?
And that's another thing. When
around
countries
the corner.
go bankrupt, because there's been countries that went bankrupt.
That's around the corner.
They had bailouts and everything like that, right? Greece had a bit. So countries can go bankrupt, and it happens. But now, what happens if America goes bankrupt? Because there's nobody combined can afford to bail us out. We just suffer the globe suffers the consequences.
The entire globe. All because
so
of
what happens when America goes bankrupt?
Yeah.
There is no bailout package.
There is no bailout package. All because of who? Crooked politicians. $37 trillion. How can you even spend that? Like, where do you spend that on?
On absolutely nothing. We spent $200 billion
absolutely
on
crazy.
Ukraine alone, right? $200 billion in Ukraine. You know what China did in Kenya for less than $3 billion? Was they built an entire railroad down to the port.
Right.
So this gives temporary and long-term jobs, transportation of goods and people, like so people can get jobs further away.
Right.
It helped their economy so much. And in return, goods and services can go back and forth because the railroad connects to a port, which can go to China. So it's mutually beneficial, but you drastically helped an entire country and helped yourself for less than $3 billion, building a big railroad and everything.
It's crazy.
Meanwhile, we threw $200 billion into Ukraine, nothing. We've spent, $200 billion for nothing while they spent $3 billion on something that was, that's going to last forever, man. You built political ties and friendships and economic ties and everything that you're going to have huge positive repercussions for that.
Oh, yeah.
While $200 billion Ukraine, nothing. Unbelievable. Imagine
a waste of money.
Oh, it's not just a waste of money, but it's like what we could do. $200 billion invested in something positive, what we ourselves could do, man. Really.
We can do a lot.
Really.
Sure. Yeah. It's crazy. A lot of wasted money out of that 37 trillion. A lot of wasted money. Look at Elon Musk and Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. He discovered, so many things that don't even make sense. People were laughing at it,
It's because there was no damn oversight before.
It's crazy.
When you're allowing people basically to write blank checks and have politicians and just greedy people involved in general, it's going to be open for abuse. Every government should have some kind of oversight department investigating all this stuff. Department of Government Efficiency or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Every government should have that type of institution as an oversight to wasteful spending and accountability in general.
A politician gets paid, salary $200,000-$300,000 a year, but yet they're worth $200-300 million. Where did that money come from? If you're only making $200,000-$300,000 a year, how much money can you save? How much money can you invest of that salary? This is just. It gets.
Nancy Pelosi has over $100 million in assets, but she only makes what, $200,000 a year? Where'd you get that money?
That's what I'm saying. It's crazy, Erik, it's been definitely an interesting conversation. This was awesome. It was definitely needed. I'm looking forward to many, more with you. And thank you so much for coming on my show. It was this was awesome, right? It was
absolutely great.
Did you enjoy yourself?
I love the studio and everything, man. This is fantastic.
All right. We definitely had a good time, man. We
I
gotta
appreciate
do this
you.
again. We're gonna have to, end this right now because I know you're hungry before you go back home. And let's grab a bite to eat, man. This was
smoke
awesome.
some cigars and have some good food.
Cigars. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
I appreciate you, man.
God bless, man. Thank you.
God bless.
I appreciate it.